I'm flanked by two Willies. Hi, welcome to Little Willie update number 3. I've got two Willies with me today. I've got Dirty Willie, he's got the stain on his shirt, and then I got Clean Willie over here. That's because in the short, as you can imagine, Willie gets a little dirty. He gets a little bloody. So we've got two bad boys, so they can handle the business between them. Share the dirty deeds, which is the name of my autobiography. A lot to get through in this update. Straight out the gate, I want to write down another thank you that I need to mention. I got a little running list of notes. Okay, we are about a month out from when we want to shoot this short. Now, if everybody that's written me expressing interest in investing and even assigned a number to their interest, if all of those people actually invest, we would have about half our budget right now. So I want to be optimistic. Now, I'm a realist, which is another word for pessimist, even though you could argue some people's optimism is actually more damaging than just a steady outlook of realistic pessimism. But that's for my therapist to help me figure out. Shout out Miranda. But anyway, if I were being an optimist, I'd say we're in good shape. We've got possibly half of our budget committed through emails and kind of verbal commitments. But I know all of that could go away. It's not final. Contracts aren't signed, but there's interest, okay? And I feel like there's more interest gathered at this point than I expected, which is very encouraging. And I think it has a lot to do with me being more open about the process, the creative process, and my intentions behind this project. And normally I like to create things in kind of a crucible of self-doubt and angst. And I still do that. But I'm trying this time to be a little more outward in with my process. So I want to thank those people that have shown interest. And we're having conversations with each of those people. And I wanted to say in the update, there is a minimum investment amount that we're looking for, and I want to be upfront about that in this update. I've been keeping the details to the emails, but maybe it's time I share a bit more. We're looking for a minimum investment from individuals of $3,000, okay? It's because our budget is, this big, and we don't necessarily want 30 individual producers on this project because the goal is to have it become a feature, and when we go to pitch this feature, the smaller the team, the better. So we're trying to kind of keep the investments at a minimum at $3,000 so that we have a smaller team of producers going into this project. But I know that's a luxury. I think it's the smarter way to approach this, knowing that our end goal is a feature film. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about the themes of Little Willie. Because a lot of people that haven't been able to read the script, which again, if you want to read the script, email me, go to littlewillyfilm.com, and and I'll send you the script. So a lot of people have said, is this just child's play? Short answer, no, it's not. In one of my previous updates, I explained it's inspired by motifs from child's play from a meta perspective, as if that film exists. But it's Little Willie, and the actor from the film is going through a midlife crisis of sorts. But let me be very clear about where my inspiration comes from for this project and most of my projects, okay? So this is the pie chart of inspiration. This is my inspo pie chart. All of my ideas are born out of my insecurities. So right here, Bowser's insecurities. That's what takes up the bulk of my headspace when I'm working on something. These little slices are the films that inspire me, okay? On this one, we got a little child's play. We have Magic, the Anthony Hopkins film. Although, trivia, I had not seen Magic when I wrote Little Willie. And then somebody said I should watch Magic, and I watched it, and it is the direct spiritual relative to Little Willie. I would even go so far as to say Little Willie is a modern reinterpretation of that story. I fucking loved Magic. Oh boy. Yeah, a lot of the shit in Magic is stuff that I'm processing as an artist as I work on Little Willy. Anyway, and then this slice, here's King of Comedy. The truth is, King of Comedy should take up half of every pie chart. The main inspiration for any project of mine is Martin Scorsese's King of Comedy. That's it. That's it. The child's play of it all was the springboard. That was what gave it a framing device. That's what gave it an environment, and kind of gave me the chess pieces. The world is born out of my insecurities. The themes are my insecurities. Now let me dive a little deeper into that. Okay? I'm processing constantly, as we all are out here in LA, well, as many people are in other parts of the country. You're constantly kind of processing expectations you had as a kid when it comes to your vocation or your dreams or your goals, and then the realities as you grow older. So I've written a number of scripts recently about failed actors, and I've put the themes of that struggle into many different scripts. It really came to life in Little Willy, though, and I'll tell you why. Part of what I'm confronting is my own entitlement and perhaps my own privilege. The feeling that I have that I should have had something greater by now or should have been more recognized by now, is that built on possibly a foundation of entitlement? And I think it might be. And I'm not saying it's wrong to dream, but I do think the characters that I've written, let's just take Adam Castle, the antagonist of Little Willy. He always thought he was destined for greater recognition and a greater platform to express and showcase his talents. Now, at 35 in the script, it hasn't happened. Now, who's to say he ever deserved that exposure? I don't know that any of us truly deserve that exposure. I think we kind of grow up thinking we do, but why? That's the entitlement I'm talking about. Like, why do I deserve to be elevated above anyone else? It's a little bit of, I think, a disillusioned outlook. And I don't need to feel shame for having that outlook, but I think it's something to reckon with and to reconcile, because it can lead to poisonous thinking, which is what happens with Adam Castle. So now, I've worked through managing my expectations as an adult, being proud of what I've accomplished, and still striving for what I feel like has been out of my reach, but not letting that strife lead to a poisonous thinking and a kind of nihilistic mindset of, well, it'll never happen for me. Well, all these other people are more successful by now. Why are they more successful? Well, so-and-so got to make their movie. None of that is productive, okay? All of that is toxic. Now, every day I have the choice to put my energies and my instincts and my talents into something productive and positive, or I can be jealous and I can be bitter. It's up to me to manage that. Confront my entitlement and the privilege that I have that has led me to believe I'm owed something, which I am not. I am not owed anything, not even as an artist, not as a creator. It's up to me to manage that, okay, day to day, and put it into something that will have a positive outcome. Adam Castle, within Little Willy, he has that choice. And I'm going to show little plot details, okay? I want plot details. In Little Willy, Adam Castle is the star of the Little Willy franchise when he was a kid. He was only in number 1 and 2. He was not in number 3. Why wasn't he in number 3? Well, because he had already become an alcoholic and a problematic person by the time he was in his teenage years. And that was the fault of other people around him, partially. You know, his money was mismanaged, his parents weren't great. But Adam had really gotten derailed and had become unhireable. Now, as an adult, he finds out they're remaking Little Willy without him. Okay? That's a plot point that my friend Joan Ford suggested I include. And ever since I included it, I feel like it's really sparked the motives of the character in a brilliant way. So thank you, Joan. Adam looks into who's doing this remake. Why am I not involved? Why am I being passed over? Why aren't my talents being recognized? You know, all this flares up. And it turns out his agent is able to shake loose an offer from the production company behind the new Little Willy remake. They're going to give Adam a small part in the remake. And he has the choice. I can either say yes, kind of stay in the game, show them that I can still perform, even in a small capacity, or I can give in to my ego and my entitlement and my sense of privilege that is ultimately toxic and say, fuck you and your small part. I'm going to make a bigger impact by giving in to poisonous thinking and, because it's the horror genre, becoming a slasher. Hell-bent on recognition. Hell-bent on being the one that dictates the outcome for the negative. That's the theme, the core theme of Little Willy. This man has the choice. He could say yes, humble himself, play the mailman in the Little Willy remake, meet the producers, get back in the game, but ultimately he doesn't want to. Why? Because of his ego. And that's the lesson he learns, and that's ultimately why he becomes a villain. That's the core, the central theme of Little Willy that I'm really interested in investigating. With that plot detail expose, I want to talk about my stylistic approach to this short. First and foremost, what's important to me is making points with Sharpies. No, first and foremost, what's important to me is that we create an origin story that gives birth to an emotionally complex slasher. I'm not going to throw out any criticism. I know that it's wonderful when slashers are fucking mysterioso. You're like, why the fuck is he like that? Everybody hates Rob Zombie's Halloween because they give him backstory. I understand that. My approach is always going to be King of Comedy. It always is. I've learned that my in to anything is pathos. It's the psyche of the character. It's the angst they're feeling. It's that crucible I talked about. It's that amalgam of self-pity mixed, weaponized by poisonous thinking. And that's the inroad for Little Willy, an emotionally complex slasher that may not be justified, but I want to at least have sympathy to a degree with that character, or else, he's a two-dimensional monster, and who cares? So, it's just funny to me. I remember when I was younger and I would write stuff and it would be like, well, this is just King of Comedy. Then I realized, you know what? That's all I'm interested in. And that's okay, as long as I'm constantly trying to reshape and reskin those themes to say something new and different and to illuminate different parts of myself and what I've learned. That can always kind of be my in, Until it can't be. And then I'll grow up. I promise. I'm literally flipping through blank pages right now. I'm trying to act like I'm the host of a late night show, and I'm like, all right, well, what do we got? Blank pages. No, what I wanted to talk about was investor update, which I said we have nearly half if verbal commitments can be trusted. Minimum investments we're looking for are $3K. Central theme I talked about. Plot details I talked about. Grounded emotional slasher I talked about because that's what interests me. Ultimately, that's what interests me. I love taking things that are absurd and then grounding them in realistic emotion. I mean, that's why I love the performances of Jeffrey Combs in all the Stuart Gordon movies. I've talked about it a million times. What I like is someone emotionally committing to something being a reality. This doll is alive, and it's talking to me, and it's telling me to do things I don't want to do. I want to commit to that. And then all of this absurdity in the context and in the environment, I think creates this really electric, tightrope to walk across. Yes, I've had 3 cups of bulletproof coffee today. No, it's not a problem. And it's the same with King of Comedy. If you think about it. Same with Taxi Driver. I mean, God, it's the same with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, even though that film is like literally about people, in a hospital. The commitment to the absurd with an emotional grounded reality, ooh, that's my sweet spot. That's what I love. Onyx is the same way. If you look at any of the Weird Guy videos, what I like about them, if I can be a fan of my own thing for a second, is that he is committed. I am this thing. I see things this way. He's convinced. And then we're just along for the ride. Okay, cool. I keep shaking the tripod every time I slam my hands down on my blank pieces of paper. Here's the other thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to thank everyone that's written that has said, I can't give you money, but I can volunteer my time, my artistic talents. Do you need music? Do you need visual effects? Do you need a website? I've gotten so many emails about this, and it is truly touching. And that's not just blowing smoke. I know what it's like to volunteer your time and to give your skill set and talents to someone else's vision. And I don't take it lightly. I know it takes a lot of selflessness to take what makes you unique as an artist and supply it for someone else's project. And I really, really thank everyone that's reached out. I'm hoping in the next update I can talk about our cast. We have some really great supporting characters in this short that are known actors from the horror genre, and I don't think I should say anything yet, and I'm not doing some fake tease of like, can't say anything, but wait till you see. I really don't think I should say anything yet because things aren't official, but once I can get things official, once more of this money is secured through contractual obligation, I'll feel like I can spill more details about exactly what this short will look like and ultimately feature. Until then, that's your Little Willy update. It's the longest one so far, but it's because we got double willied. Go to littlewillyfilm.com if you're interested in investing. Like I said, I think we're kind of at the halfway point. We got about a month before we're trying to shoot. Ooh! So if we could just get some more commitments in there, I'd feel pretty good. Thanks again. That's it. Bye. More coffee!